Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Hello, Lauren. Oh, I think you're muted.
Ah, there we go. Hey.
Good, good. Thanks for joining us. So this week we have interesting topic. So what's new in Uniform? So Lauren is going to talk to us about this. And just so you know, this is being recorded, and this will be made available on our website. You're also going to get an email link to this video, and also part of the e-learning platform, which you're going to cover, I think, right? Good. So the floor is yours. I think you're muted again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, all good.
Okay. Okay. Here we go. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So first off today, we'll start out with some Holstein Canada items. A lot of you already use this module. It's been around for a couple years now. So more than anything, I think we get questions about common errors that happen. So we'll just briefly go through the setup of how the Holstein Canada link worked, and then some common errors that might happen when you open it and try to get your registration sent. So first off, I've got the Holstein Canada screen open here, and that's found under the management menu, and then in the links. And what we're looking at is anything in red is something that needs a little bit of work before it can be submitted. And anything in blue is good to send. I've already done a little bit of work on my registrations here this morning. So I've got a couple that are good to go, these blue ones. And then I've got some notes on the errors column on the far right, just telling me what's going on with these calves that are in red and how can I fix them. When you're in this screen, the first thing you'll do if you haven't used it before is jump down to the Properties button in the bottom right corner. Here you can see how many days back you're looking for calves to register. So I'm set to 30 days here. And then you can also jump into the communication settings and make sure you've got your farm prefix entered, because that's the account number that we're using with Holstein Canada to submit your registrations. Just a side note about that, if it is a calf that was not bred by you, so would hold someone else's prefix, you'll still use your own prefix to submit that registration. And then Holstein Canada will take that, the owner of the dam at the time of the breeding that resulted in that calf, and apply the correct prefix to the registration. So we'll say OK there, and you can save your preferences with that little checkbox. Then we can jump into just a couple more housekeeping items. Along the bottom toolbar, you've got a send button. So when you're ready and you've got some blue calves up top, you can hit that send button. We've got the option for rush service if you need it quick, and then also for certificates if you want those paper certificates. If you're looking for calves that maybe aren't in the list because of your filter, you can hit that add button and look for anybody else in the herd. So you could search by registration, by reg number, name, or animal number there in your whole list. And then similarly, if you had somebody on this list that was, say, sired by an Angus bull or something like that, you can highlight them and then hit the delete button, and that'll pull them off of your list during your session while you're working in just this session. It'll be back next time if it still makes that date filter. And then the receive data button is a nice way to manually call the data back from the Holstein Canada server. So you hit that button, it'll refresh it, see if there's anything updated for you. And if you have any new registrations, there'll be a little pop-up that says 1 animal enrolled. So let's jump into fixing some of these errors. We'll start with number 984. This no animal name prefix is something that you will see for every single calf that you're going to register. And that basically means that we need to go pay attention to what's in her registered name field. And then we also see her long registration number is missing. So we'll double click on her to jump to her animal record. And then at the bottom left, we can hit edit. Here we can give her a name. I like to use my sire names. So I'll copy that. We can paste it in and then give her a name. Then we'll apply a Holstein Canada registration number. If you have any questions about what should go in these fields, if you hover over it, we'll give you the suggestion. So you'll need the HOCANF in all caps, and then you can grab the last digits of that NLID. And we just paste those right in. We'll click OK here, and then jump back to Holstein Canada. And we did our job right, so she's blue now. Another common error that we'll see is related to either the breed of the dam or the sire. For this module, we're using that long registration number of the dam and the sire to generate the breed. So you're going to need to make sure that the dam of this calf, so we'll go see 5570's dam, that's 236, and we'll edit her. And we can see she does not have a long registration number. So we'll do the same thing that we just did for that calf and add that Holstein Canada female with the tag number. Back to the module again. 5570 is good to send. For 986, this is another common error, especially if you've got a new sire into your herd. This is an invalid sire registration number. We'll double click on her, and that'll pull us right to the sires page. So this is what we needed to edit here. We can edit this sire. You can see I've got an Angus sire in here actually. So this would be a good candidate for me to delete from my Holstein Canada tab. For example's sake, let's just say this is actually a Holstein bull. We'll put in the Holstein Canada male. Then he's got his tag number there. Hit OK. And when we go back to that Holstein Canada tab, now she's good to send as well. Similar to how we fix the dam and the sire breeds, if you've got an invalid breed on a calf, this is actually related to the long registration number field as well. So if that field is empty on your page here, you're going to need to go to that animal record and change it. If you don't see this on your Holstein Canada tab by default when you open it up, go down to your properties and go to the advanced. And this is where you can choose which items, which columns you'd like to see. Since they're mandatory, long registration number and reg name are my two preferred to add here. So make sure you check those boxes and check the save settings, and then you'll be able to see really quickly what fields need to be edited on those calves. So we'll go fix her up. And again, that's with the edit button. Okay.
Lauren, sorry, sorry to interrupt. I've got a question from JP. So he's asking, so I'm just reading the question here. Dead center is an Angus bull. How do we do with the Angus breed?
So if we have a non-Holstein sire, we cannot send those directly in to Holstein Canada from here. So we can highlight that calf and use the delete button at the bottom. And then she could be deleted from my working list for the day.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
So just a note about that, the breed is going to be coming from the dam. So you may have noticed that calf, her breed did say Holstein. So the dam breed is going to follow through on the calf. If you do have Angus that you're keeping as part of a beef program or something like that, and you really wanted to track those, you have to change the breed of that calf on the animal record. So we could go into there. This is a different one, but same principle applies. And edit. And then under pedigree details, the very bottom column there we've got for breed type. So you could choose if you wanted it to be anything, and whatever breed you're using to crossbreed, or if there's a cross, we can have a cross option also.
Good catch, JP. I know JP knows his stuff really well. That's good.
Yep.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yeah, and then now all the animals in my list here are ready to send, so we can just go ahead and push that send button, and you'll get all of those calves will move over to the pending tab. If you haven't used the link before, I would like to have you call the help desk and we'll make sure that everything goes well with your first submission, and we'll usually check in about a week later to make sure that everything's accepted. So if you do end up with anything in the rejected column or something, that's also another case to call the help desk, and then we can help you figure out why Holstein Canada rejected the file. Sometimes it's the wrong NLID number or something like that that passes validation but doesn't meet the pedigree requirements that you may have been trying to submit. So if you've got anything like that, just give us a call.
Yeah, really like the screening process of the Holstein Canada link, and I know we've got a lot of people from Holstein Canada on the webinar, so I hope they appreciate all the pre-screening we do for them.
Good deal. Well, I guess we can move into the DairyTrace piece of things. In your program, you're going to find that under Pro Action, and that's also going to be under Links. I've got a toolbar saved, a toolbar favorite saved here. And if you wanted to specifically link to the send, you could right click and put the send up there. That's going to be what you're going to use most often. The sent button is going to be anything that's been submitted already. So that's more of a history log for you, whereas the send is your active working list. So we'll open this one up. Here I've got all of my blue events at the top are correct. These are ready to go. We've got the NLID of the animal, which is the easiest way to track back who it is. If it's a historical animal, so if there's a sale record here or a death, they're going to get a longer digit number that you probably won't recognize them by, but that NLID is going to be the identifier. You've got your event type and date, and then any details that you're looking at there. You can drag these columns around to make it a little bit easier to see maybe what's going on in the status or what's the check code there. And then you've got your license plate column, which is new relatively since last fall or so, I think. So we can now choose the transporters as an option here. I'll show you how to add that to your suppliers as well. Then your status column is going to give you the same sort of idea as in the Holstein Canada module where the errors are. If there's anything in here in red, that's going to show you what you need to fix in order to send that record. And then the far right column, this is your check code. Basically, this is are you doing a good job getting your data submitted to DairyTrace, or do you need to maybe do this a little bit more frequently? So the warning signs are going to be older than the required time, and then the check marks are going to be within the required time. In this one also, you've got on the bottom toolbar the send button. This is going to send your events directly through the web. So if you're having any issues submitting your DairyTrace events, make sure your internet is enabled. That's actually a pretty common one that comes up. And then in your properties, this is where you can set up those communication settings as well. If you're doing it every Monday, you can bump this down to every 7 days worth of data. You can check all of your required events to be submitted. And then in the communication tab, if you have a password change on the DairyTrace web portal, you will absolutely have to update this communication setting or you will not be able to send events. So this account number, this is your DT number, that's going to match with your DairyTrace account. And then the username and the password are the exact username and password that you would use to log into DairyTrace, including case sensitivity. So that's an important one to watch out. If you get an error trying to send your events, a lot of times it relates to this here. And then just a side note, if you do have beef cattle on the farm, we have the CLTS link also still here. So it's tried and true, it's been here for a while. If you wanted to do those, that is still there. We'll say okay here. Okay, I'll collapse my to be sent events and then we can just look at the ones that need a little bit of work. This first one here is related to the transporter license plate. So we can go to our supplier list and we can see all of our suppliers. I've got a ton in here. You can sort them by your cattle. Just click that top column and you'll sort out who's acceptable for cattle. Same thing with the transporter. If you click on that 2 times, it'll sort all of your transporters that are selected up to the top of your list. And then we could double click and edit and make sure we've got the correct trailer license plate associated with that supplier. And then we'll need the the province and the country. So that's a new field in there to have the province and the country and the license plate. So if you've got a supplier that's maybe been in the program for a while, you'll need to go in there and update those. And then the premises IDs, you may have those already in there, but that is absolutely mandatory as well for anybody taking cattle. Okay. As in the Holstein Canada module, if you double click on an animal, this will take you to their animal record where you can fix the event that's having the flag on it. So we've got a purchase here, and we've got the relation is Sam Green, but we have the incorrect transporter. So this transporter is a dead stock removal. We need to update this and say it was John Smith who trucked this cow. So we've got the appropriate information there. Okay, we'll go back into DairyTrace. And now that one has moved out of the incorrect section up into the correct section. Down here, 5571, this is another common issue that we see. The NLID for this animal is incorrect. So at first glance, it looks like it's probably right, but then if you look a little closer, it looks like we're short 1 digit. So you'll double click and then you can jump in directly to that animal record, edit that, and make sure you've got your correct number of digits. This one is missing a 0. And you can record your tag change date if there was change. So now that calf moves up into our correct screen. Another item related to this is the deaths. You can change the dead details by following through that double click, jump to the animal record method, and then you can double click to edit that died event. You can add the appropriate reason, if it was an emergency slaughter or something else. We'll say died. And then if you've got a dead stock removal service, you can record that as well. If they're on farm, if they're handled on farm, then those can be marked in that way as well. And say okay. Okay. One other item that you'll need to have as it pertains to the DairyTrace module is going to be under program settings and farm data. I've got mine filled in already, so there's plenty to see. But if it's not here, you'll want to put in your premises ID. You'll see, I'll delete this and you can see the error that you'll see if you don't have your premises filled in. So everything will be red. If you have everything red, likely that's going to be your first stop to get that corrected. Make sure that the province is capitalized and that there's no space between the province letters and the numbers. Related with the traceability side of the world, in our data entry, we now have a way to track temporary movements. So if you've got a second facility, maybe where heifers spend some of the year or something like that, we can record those as temporary movements. As with a lot of things in your data entry screen, you can do a single animal through the main screen line, but probably not very often, just one animal is moving around. So under batch entry, at the very bottom, we've got temporary movements. And you can do this with one animal or a whole group if you'd like. So let's say you're going to move a group of heifers down to the next farm. The out is going to be the date that they leave facility 1 to move to the next facility, and then the in would be whenever they do come back. If you've got both dates at this time, you can record that with the out and the in. So we'll send this group out. Reversing the selection, we'll select the entire group, or I can sort by number and pick out just a few. We'll hit next, and then I can put in my movement details. So if they moved yesterday, 2 days ago, we can put that movement date in. And then from our supplier list, we can select which site they went to. So I've got site 2 listed here. And again, that's going to have the appropriate premises ID in order to be compliant with DairyTrace. We'll select that, and we'll grab our transporter. Even if you're doing it yourself, you'll want to put in yourself as a transporter. So we'll say transporter A moves these heifers, and then we'll hit finish. These 3 temporary movements are processed. Say OK, and those will be added to our traceability list. So we've got on the 16th, we've got these 3 heifers that moved out. To bring them back, we can also do that with a batch entry. Back to temporary movements. We can do the per group option, or we can click next and see who's been moved already. We'll have to choose in though. There we go. And I've got my 3 heifers again here. Reverse the selection, and I can say they moved back today.
So I guess, Lauren, it's not, so sorry to interrupt. So I guess it's not possible to send them out once again, like for those 3 animals, right?
Correct. Yep. There's a validation built in there. The program recognizes that this animal is off-site.
Fantastic.
Yep. So we'll grab that same site that they're at now, and then record whichever transporter. Maybe Jane moved them this time. Hit finish, and then those heifers are moved back. So that'll be recorded as a purchase into the DairyTrace module. So you can see that those 3 heifers moved back here on the 18th. So that's a really handy way to do it if you're moving heifers around a little bit, and then you've got an easy way to record them. All the data stays in the program, they stay active in your herd, but they've just got a different site. All right, any questions on the traceability, Matt, before I move on to a little bit of e-learning?
No, I think we're all clear here. So you
Okay.
can move on to e-learning.
Great. We'll do more on e-learning later on, but I'd like to just point out that the resource links in the bottom left corner of your program, where you've got access to our website, our email, and our phone. You've got the graduation cap now, which will take you to Uniform Academy. This will log in with your email, and we've got a standard password that will log you in with the first time. Once you're logged in there, then you can change it to a password that's comfortable for you to remember and save your settings on your PC if you prefer to do it that way. But you can directly access that platform by clicking on that graduation cap. And then all of the webinars that we've done, different links to different things in the program, some testimonials from other users, all that kind of stuff is going to be right at your fingertips then. And you can go through some different courses and test yourself and check your knowledge on different things. And if you've got any feedback about the e-learning, we're happy to hear it. It's something that we're adding content to all the time. So if there's something that would be super useful for you, or maybe you think for others to have in the e-learning section on Uniform Academy, then let us know, and we're happy to get started on content for those kind of things too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to mention, like you said, it's an ongoing development, that e-learning platform. So we're developing contents. Lauren is actually developing a lot of content to it, so it's a very good reference. And even for webinars, like I was mentioning, we have all the past webinars that are recorded on the e-learning.
I think we've got a webinar coming up on that in a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks or so. I don't know exactly, but we'll go way more in depth on what you can see there and how you can use it and things like that. So check out your emails for that date.
Great.
And if you do want access and you don't have access at the moment, you can click on the little @ symbol at the bottom and email us, and we can generate an email and password for you so that you can go ahead and get started, play with it for a couple of weeks, and then jump in on the webinar. So you'll have a little feel for things, and then you can ask any questions then too.
Wonderful. Great. Do we have any questions? I think you were done with all the content, Lauren, correct?
Yep, that's all I have for you.
Good. Don't see any questions. Let me just scroll here. No, I think we're good. Excellent. Thank you so much, Lauren. It was very helpful. I hope it was for all of you as well. And like Lauren said, if you have any questions, just click the @ sign in the lower corner, or just give us a call, and we'll be happy to help. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.